Hey, what is going on, Pokemaniacs? Welcome back to the channel. And today we're diving into something exciting as we gear up for the upcoming draft league season of the Spear Pillar Draft Association. And whether you're a seasoned battler or you're just here for the ride, you're in for a treat, honestly. We're going to break down the competition for my opponents on this season, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a rank. I'm gonna be ranking my opponent's team on a tier list. So yeah, it's time to analyze their strengths, their weaknesses, and see just how much of a threat. And it's time to analyze their strengths, their weaknesses, and just see how much of a threat they really are. And I do gotta say, I'm not a good player on draft leagues. Like, this is just like my third one, so I don't know what I'm talking about. So don't take it personal. I'm just here for the lulz. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the list. Alright then, guys, here we are, and we're gonna begin with the Baltimore Bergmites. That's Jacob's team. So right away, let's see. He's got the Kyurem, the Item Boulder, the Landorus, the Slowking, the Keldeo, my second favorite Pokemon, the Klefki, the Jolteon, the Hitmontop, the Trapinch, and the Hisuian Typhlosion. Let's take a look. So, speed-wise, his fastest Pokemon is the Jolteon with the 130 base speed. Next to that, we have the Item Boulder with 124. And then in third place for the speed is going to be the Keldeo with 108. That is pretty good. I actually have to give him an applause, because this team is very well rounded on the speed front. So that's pretty good, because the Hisuian Typhlosion and the Kyurem have a 95, and then the Landorus 91. So overall, I gotta just give a thumbs up to Jacob for that speed variety. On the type chart, I see 5 types on the red. So he's got 3 Pokemon weak to Fairy and only 2 Pokemon that resist the Fairy type. 3 Pokemon weak to Ghost and no immunities or resistances. 4 Pokemon weak to Ground, only 1 immunity being the Landorus. Oof, yeah, like that weakness to ground is gonna be that can be exploited for sure. Additionally, let's see, this is not that significant. He's got 4 Pokemon weak to grass, but he also has 3 resistances. He's got 4 Pokemon weak to water and 3 resistances. Interesting. So I think overall the worst thing on this team, at least on the type chart, is the ground weakness and the ghost for sure. Ghost would be okay if he had a normal type, like at least 1, and that would make it okay in my books, but I don't see it. So yeah, I don't think this is a good type chart for sure. Overall team stats, he's got 97 on the attack. That's pretty good. And then 83 on the speed. His second highest stat is gonna be the special attack. So this is gonna be a really offensive team for sure. Momentum builders, he's got 3 Pokemon. He's got the U-turn on the Landorus, Volt Switch on the Jolteon, and then Flip Turn on the Keldeo. He's got 1 Stealth Rock user, the Landorus, and 1 Pokemon that can set up the spikes. and only one rapid spinner and no defog users. Yeah, that's something that can also be a weakness. Like just depending on one rapid spinner, oof, that is rough. But on the priority side, he's got one Pokemon that can learn the fake out, one bullet punch user, yeah, and then two Pokemon that can use the vacuum wave. Oh, and the Kildeo also learns the Aqua Jet, so that's good on his part. He's got three Pokemon that learn the Thunder Wave and two Pokemon that learn the Yawn. Three Taunt users and one Thief user, and then he's got one Pokemon that can do the Switcheroo. So that's pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not impressed by this team. I'm impressed by the variety of speed that we have on this team. It's always rough facing a Jolteon, and then the item boulder can be really, really good. Depending on the trainer, like I was unable to make him shine, but I do wish good luck to the Baltimore Bergmites on making the item boulder shine as much as he can. But I think this is gonna be a C tier team. Alright then, here we have the Slowpokes. So that guy has the item bundle, the Latios, the Iron Moth, the Mandibus, the Scissor, the Mimikyu, the Rhyperior, the Vikavolt, the Decidueye from Hisui, the Squawkabilly, the green one, and then he has the Pikachu for shits and giggles. Alrighty then. Let's go ahead and analyze this team. So this team is also very well rounded on the speed side. So the item bundle, who is one of the fastest Pokemon in the game right now, he has 136 overall speed. Next to that, we have the Latios with 110 and the Iron Moth also with 110. Next is the Mimikyu with 96. And then the Squawkabilly with 92, and finally the Pikachu with 90. So that's pretty very well rounded. Okay, so on the type chart, he has, let's see, 3 Pokemon weak to Fairy and only 3 that resist the Fairy type, one being the Iron Moth, who resists by 0.25. The only thing that I see that can be exploitable a little bit at least is the rock type. So he has 5 Pokemon weak to rock and 2 Pokemon that resist the rock. Let's see, what else? Ice type, there is also a red right there. I see 5 Pokemon weak to ice, and then 2 Pokemon that resist it, and 1 other that resists by 0.25 as well. So I think rock and ice are definitely one of those weaknesses that can be exploited. On the overall stats, his highest one is the attack being 91, and then next to that it's the special attack being 86. For speed overall, he's got 84, so that's pretty good. But let's take a look at this. So he has 6 Pokemon that can use the U-turn and 2 Pokemon that can go ahead and Volt Switch. So that's pretty good for the momentum building. He has 1 Pokemon that can set up the Stealth Rocks and another Pokemon that can set up Toxic Spikes. And take a look at this. He has 3 Pokemon that learn the Defog. So I think that's pretty good. He won't be, I don't think he's going to be looking to set up hazards. He's just going to be looking to do Defogs and get rid of, any has on his side of the field. Alright, next to that, for priority moves, I see one Pokemon that can learn the Bullet Punch, being the Scissor, one Fake Out user, being the Pikachu, 3 Pokemon that can do a Quick Attack, and 2 Pokemon that learn the Shadow Sneak, so that's pretty good. And then for status changes, 1 Pokemon that learned the Nuzzle, being the Pikachu, and 4 Pokemon that learned the Thunder Wave. Additionally, he's got 2 Pokemon that learn Toxic and 1 Will-O-Wisp user, being the Mimikyu. He's got 5 Pokemon that learns the Taunt, 4 Knockoff users, and then 7 Thief users. So that's pretty amazing. Additionally, he's got 2 Pokemon that learned the Trick, and then yeah. That's it for that. I think it's worth noting that he has 3 Pokemon that learn Roost, 1 that learns the Wish, and 1 Morning Sun user, being the Iron Moth. And then he also has 1 Pokemon that learns the Synthesis, being the Hisuian Decidueye. So that's pretty good, honestly. So I think this team is really good. And against me, the item bundle is gonna be really hard to beat, honestly. So I think I'm gonna put the Slowpokes right on the B tier for sure. Alright, and without further ado, let's go ahead and do the Las Vegas Leafs. Alrighty then, guys, let's take a look at the Las Vegas Leafs. So that team has the Dragapult, the Ogre Pond, Wellspring. He actually stole that from me. Well, didn't steal it, but he sniped it out of my own team. So he's gonna be a D. Just kidding. I'm not that salty. But so anyways, so yeah, he has the Ogre Pond Wellspring. He's got the Weavile, the Clefable, the Corviknight, the Alomomola, the Moltres, the Rhydon, Bellibolt, the Muck, and the Grookey. Now the Grookey, I think he's a very interesting pick. He's worth, I think, 1 point, but he can just set up the grassy terrain, which can be really useful, especially in a team that's this bulky. So let's take a look at the speed of this team. So the fastest Pokemon is Dragapult with 142 base speed. Next is the Weavile with 125, and next would be the Ogre Pond Wellspring, so that's pretty good. But the most impressive thing on this team is actually like how the synergy, like how well the typings work with each other. And I think this is gonna be a team that's gonna be rough to beat, especially because it has a lot of bulk in it. So right off the bat, I see on the type chart, there are 2 Pokemon weak to rock. One being the Moltres, obviously, and then the Weavile, and only 1 Pokemon that will resist it. Next to that, I see 3 Pokemon weak to ice and 2 resistances, but 1 of those is the Alomomola. So on the type chart, I think this team is really good, along with the speed variety. Yeah, I think on the speed variety, from the 3 teams that I've only seen 2. From the 2 teams, I think that what I'm trying to say is that the previous 2 teams that I rated, I think this is the worst in the speed variety. But let's keep on going, because I think this might be the first team on the A tier based on the synergy and on the type chart. Overall team stats, the highest one is a tie, so the attack overall is 96, and then the HP is 96 as well, so that's OP. And let's take a look at this. On the overall defense, it's an 83, and for the special defense, 75. Wow, 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 wow. This is gonna be a team that's rough to beat, honestly. He's got 5 Pokemon that can use the U-turn, and 1 Pokemon that can use the Volt Switch, and 1 Pokemon that can learn the flip turn, being the Alomomola. He's only got 1 Pokemon that learns the Defog, so that's gonna be a bit of a on the negative. I don't think he's gonna be looking to set up any hazards, but if he does, he has the Clefable and the Rhydon that can do the Stealth Rock, and 1 Pokemon that learns the Spikes, and the Mach can use the Toxic Spikes, so that's pretty good. And you know, he'll always bring the Corviknight for sure. So I think having 1 Defog user, it's not that ideal, but since he's gonna be bringing that on every battle, I don't think it's that bad. Let's take a look. On the priority, I'm not too surprised. 1 Pokemon that can learn the Fake Out, and then that being the Weavile and the Grookey, and the Weavile also learns the Ice Charge. The Mog will also be able to learn the Shadow Sneak, and 2 Pokemon with the Sucker Punch. Let's see, on the status changers, 3 Pokemon learn Thunder Wave, 2 Pokemon learn Toxic, and 2 Pokemon learn the Will-O-Wisp. He's also got 5 users of the Knockoff and 5 users of Taunt, so, and 1 Trick user, along with 2 Encore users, so that's pretty powerful. So I think the item leaves, he will be A tier for sure. Mainly because I think that the combination of Dragapult, Alomomola, and the Corviknight is gonna be very threatening, and it's just gonna be hard to beat, honestly. I think drafting these 3 Pokemon is very smart for sure, and that is why I'm gonna put him on the A tier. Let's go for the Piranhas now. Alrighty then, guys, so the Piranhas have the Rillaboom, the Zapdos, the Metagross, Glimmora, the Milotic, Incineroar, Ambipom, Frostless, Dachshund, the Gabite, and then the Sneasler. On the speed side, he's got 120 with the Sneasler, and then Ambipom has 115, and then the Frostless has 110. Next to that, we have the Zapdos with 100. I think overall, this guy has a team that's really fast. From the 3 teams that we have seen so far, this is the one that I'm more impressed with the variety of speed. Let's see. So the Glimmora has 86, but it can go up with the agility. And then we have the Rillaboom that sets up the grassy terrain. And then let's not forget that he's got that attack that will always go first on grassy terrain. So that's definitely points in his favor. Even more points in his favor is the type chart, because the only type in red is the ground. He's got 4 Pokemon weak to ground, 1 being the Glimmora times 4, and only 2 Pokemon, well, 1 Pokemon that will resist, and 1 immunity being the Zapdos. But let's take a look at this. So the Rillaboom will set up the grassy terrain, which will for sure weaken the you know, any earthquakes or any ground type moves. On the overall, let's see, on the overall stats, we have the attack with 96 and then the speed with 91. So that is very threatening for momentum builders. I do see 5 U-turn users and 1 Volt Switch, which is the Zapdos. So that's pretty good For the hazards, I see 3 Pokemon that can set up the Stealth Rock, 2 Spike users, and 2 Toxic Spike users. The only negative thing so far is that he's depending on the Glimmora to get rid of the hazards on his side of the field. And then let's see, for priority, he's got the Bullet Punch with the Metagross, which I think is the strongest priority move on his team at least. And 4 Fake Out users, perhaps the Ambipom will be using the Fake Out. Let's see, 1 Ice Shard user, so that's pretty good. Let's take a look at this. 3 Pokemon learn Thunder Wave, so that's really threatening. And all 3 of those are very fast too. 2 Pokemon that learn the Toxic, and then 2 Pokemon that learn the Will-O-Wisp. For Disruption, he's got 5 Taunt users, 4 Knockoff users as well, so that's pretty good. And then he's got 1 Roost user, being the Zapdos, and 1 Pokemon that has the Wish. So I think, like I mentioned, the only negative thing on this team is the fact that Glimmora is the only one that can remove hazards on his side of the field. But I gotta be honest, you know, with 96 overall attack, this is very threatening. And let's not forget that the Glimmora can be a sweeper for sure late game, because I already lost a game to the Glimmora, but because of the variety in speed and the along with the type chart and the amount of momentum builders, I think the Piranas will take the first spot in the S tier. Okay, here it is. Now we're gonna move to the Detroit Blue Flares. So we have the Goldingo, Roaring Moon, the Ogre Pond, Cornerstone, we have the Volcarona, Sylveon, Vaporeon, the Donphan, Cryogonal, Electros, Vileplume, and the Zangoose. So we have faced Cos before. The Vaporeon can be very annoying to play with. So right now he's got 2 evolutions, so that is very threatening for sure. On the speed tier, let's see, he's got 119 on the Roaring Moon, 110 on the Ogre Pond, 105 on the Cryogonal, 100 on the Volcarona, and then 90 on Zangoose and 84 on the Goldingo, but you know, he can always go to Choice Scarf to double the speed. So let's see, I'm not too impressed with the speed column here. So let's move on the type chart. However, like, this is fire right here. Like, he is covered on every single type, with the exception of fire. It seems like he's got 3 Pokemon weak to fire, and 2 Pokemon that resist the fire, being the Vaporeon and the Roaring Moon. I might think about trying to exploit that, but we'll see, because he's my opponent for the first week. Let's move on, shall we? On the overall stats, he's got 94 for special attack and 95 for special defense. The speed, he's at 80 and then 90 on attack. So I think those 2 are a very good combination, being 94 on special attack and 95 on special defense. That's always good to see together. He's got 4 U-turn users, and then 1 Volt Switch user, and then 1 Flip Turn user as well. I see he's got 2 Rapid Spinners, the Donphan and the Cryogonal. I'm more concerned for the Donphan for sure. Let's see what else he's got. I don't see anything on priority, like, besides 2 Ice Shard users. So I'm not too impressed on here, but let's take a look at this. He's got 2 Yawn users, 3 Thunder Wave users as well, 1 Toxic user, and then 1 Pokemon that learns the Will-O-Wisp, although it's really rare to see the Volcarona with a Will-O-Wisp. For Disruption, he's got 5 knockoff users and 3 taunt users, so that's pretty good. I do see 1 user of Trick, which will be important to keep in mind. On the healing column, I see he's got 2 Wish users. That's honestly gonna be very annoying to deal with. He's got 1 Morning Sun user, being the Volcarona, and the Roost user is the Roaring Moon. Let's see. So yeah, that's about it. I think with the amount of momentum he's got, that's pretty good. The combination of special attack and special defense, I think it's also points in his favor, along with the type shard. This is a very threatening team. Let's see. Yeah, I think this is gonna be, in my book, an A tier as well. And with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the St. Louis. Okay guys, let's take a look here. So the St. Louis chose the Slowking, Galar, Excalibur, the Hitran, the Primarina, the Thundurus, Incarnate, the Sea Titan, Flygon, Bisharp, the Bravery, the Frostmoth, and the Zebstrike. That is quite interesting. Now, let's see. The fastest Pokemon in this team is the Zebstrika with 116. Next to that, we have the Thundurus and then the Flygon with 100. The Thundurus has 111. Let's remember that the Flygon learns the Dragon Dance, so that's gonna increase the speed even more. And then I think the Zebstrika learns the Motor Drive, so Zebstrika has potential to be even faster. Like, to be honest, I thought about drafting Zebstrika, and then on this team, Zebstrika is one of the Terra captains. Let's take a look at the type charts here. So I see, well, the most common type that we see is the, well, it's not even that significant, but I was gonna say he's got 3 Pokemon with the Ice type. And that plays a role in here because, let's see, he's got 5 Pokemon weak to Rock, with only 2 resisting the Rock type, 1 being the Flygon and then the Bisharp, and then he's got 4 Pokemon weak to Fighting, and then 3 Pokemon that resisted. 1 resists the Fighting by 0.25, so that's pretty good. But on the type chart, let's see. I think what's gonna cost him some points is the fact that one of those types in red is the Rock type, because that means that you're pretty vulnerable to Stealth Rocks. On the overall stats, he's got 101 for attack. That is very high. And then 93 on the HP. He's got 92 on special attack. That is very good. I gotta say, this overall stats column is very threatening. He's got quite a few momentum builders. He's got 4 U-turn users and 2 Volt switchers. And then, let's see, he's got 2 defog users. That's very, very important. One is the Frostmoth and then the Bravery, so that's pretty good. He's got 3 Pokemon that learned the Stealth Rock and 1 Pokemon that learns the Toxic Spikes. Let's see, so this is pretty well-rounded team, honestly. On the priority, I don't see anything worth mentioning. He's got 2 Pokemon that learned the Ice Shard. Let's see, 1 Sucker Punch user, never mind. I think on the priority, he's very well covered. He's got 4 Pokemon that learn the Thunder Wave. So that's pretty important. 1 Toxic user and 1 Will-O-Wisp user. 5 Pokemon that learn the Taunt and 2 knockoff users. Let's see. This would be let's see. It's time to rate this team. I gotta say, this seems to be a team that depends, not 100%, but he definitely wants to set up the snowstorm, and to do that, he needs he's depending on the Slowking. If he had other Pokemon that can set that up, this would be an A tier, perhaps even a C tier, but he's got nothing for that. So only the Slowking, so that's gonna cost him some points. Along with the fact that on the type chart, one of his weaknesses is the rock type, that's also gonna cost him. But let's take a look at that. Attack 101, special attack 92, and HP 93. That is very powerful. I think just because of the overall stats combined with the fact that he's got let's see, 2 ways to get rid of hazards, I'm gonna rate the St. Louis or Chaludons as a B tier. Alright, let's move on to the Ogre Ponds. So this team has the Great Tusk, the Tornadus Tyrion, the Greninja, the Gengar, Screamtail, the Glastrier, the Rotom-Mow, the Registeel, Colossal, Lantern, and the Munchlax. The fastest Pokemon is going to be the Greninja with 122, the Tornadus with 121. Next to that we have the Screamtail with 111, and then the Gengar with 110. So I think this team is really well rounded on the speed stat, so that is pretty good on my opponent. And you know, it's always very threatening to face the Great Tusk, because he can either be an offensive Great Tusk or he can be a defensive Great Tusk. Let's take a look at the type chart. Again, we see red on the rock. We see 3 Pokemon weak to rock, 1 that will resist it, being the Registeel, and the Great Tusk that resists times 0.25, so that's pretty good. And then I don't think the Stealth Rocks are gonna do any good, because the Great Tusk will just do a rapid spin. I do see another red on the ground type, which to me it's very, very bad. He's got 4 Pokemon weak to ground, and then 4 Pokemon that are immune to it. 1 because of the Levitate ability, and the Tornadus because he's a flying type. Let's take a look at this. He's got 4 Pokemon, no, not even 5 Pokemon weak to the fighting type. We have 1 immunity, 1 resistance, and then 1 other resistance that does 0.25. So I think that is still like way too rough on the fighting type. So yeah, that's gonna take away some points, honestly. On the overall stats, the highest one is gonna be both the defense and the HP. So this is gonna be a team that's gonna be hard to beat. On the offensive side, let's see, the highest one is gonna be the attack with 88, and then he's got 74 on the speed. He's got 2 momentum users. For momentum, he's got 2 U-turn users, being the Greninja, the Tornadus, 2 Volt Switch users, and 1 Flip Turn user. And then let's keep on going. He's got 4 Pokemon that learns Stealth Rock, 2 Pokemon that learn Spikes, and 2 Pokemon that learn the Toxic Spikes. So that's pretty powerful. And then he's also got 2 Rapid Spinners. So I think he's definitely gonna be looking into setting up a lot of hazards here. He doesn't have a lot of priority. I mean, I guess he's got the Greninja with the Shuriken, and then 2 Sucker Punch users, along with a Shadow Sneak user. Yeah, I'm not too impressed on that priority. Let's take a look at this. He's got on the status changers, he's got 5 Pokemon that learn the Thunder Wave and 3 Pokemon that learn the Will-O-Wisp, along with 1 Toxic user. He's got a lot of Disruption as well, 5 Taunt users, 3 Knockoff users, and then 4 Pokemon that learn Thief. He's got 3 Pokemon that learns Encore and 3 Trick users. So that is very threatening, honestly. So I'm tempted to rate this team as a C tier, honestly, but it's mainly because I don't see what his end game is, you know, like what his winning condition is. The only thing that I can see is that he wants to set up a bunch of hazards and then perhaps go for a bunch of Thunder Waves as well, you know, just to buy some time. And then I would bring the Great Tusk offensively along with the Greninja in an offensive manner. Let's see, I think because, yeah, I'm not gonna rate him as a C tier because perhaps perhaps I'm just clueless. But I think he's definitely at least a B tier. And last but not least, let's go ahead and move into the Pyrmont kickers. Alright, so the kickers, they got the Annihilate, they got the Cinderace, Gliscor, the Walking Wake, the Umbreon, the Yuxi, the Fortress, the Mousehold, the Grafaiai, the Whimsicott, the Ampharos, and the Scarbunny. Brandon P, he was the one that took away the Fortress away from me, and I had to throw away hours of team planning, so he's got D. Bruh. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna put him on D. Oh, I cannot put him down here. Interesting. Well, anyways, let's see. On the speed front, he's got the Cinderace. That's the fastest Pokemon with 119. He's got the Whimsicott with 116, and then the Mousehold with 111. But let's remember, he's got the Tidy Up, so he can be even faster. The Grafaiai also has 110, and the Walking Wake is 109. The next 3 Pokemon are in the 90s. I think this team is very well rounded on the speed column, so that's pretty good. I see on the type chart, 4 Reds, he's got 4 Pokemon weak to ground, but he's got 2 immunities, so that doesn't matter. And then on the flying side, he's got 2 weaknesses and only 1 resistance. I don't think that's too significant. I don't think any of his Reds are too significant, honestly. He's got 2 Pokemon weak to rock and 1 resistance, being the Annihilate, so that's not that bad. He's got 3 Pokemon weak to water, 1 resistance, and then another Pokemon that resists times 0.25. Let's see, on the overall stats, speed is 90 and then defense is 91. Those are the highest 2. Offensively, I see attack being 85, so that is pretty significant. He's got 3, 6, 7, 8 Pokemon that learn U-turn, 2 Volt Switch users, and 1 Flip Turn user as well. And then the Graphite learns a Parting Shot, and because he's got the Prankster ability, he's always gonna go first. So Graphite will be very hard to deal with. He's got 4 Pokemon that set up Stealth Rock, 2 Pokemon with spikes, and 2 Pokemon that set up Toxic Spikes. I see 1 Rapid Spinner and 1 Tidy Up user, so oh my goodness, this team is fire, honestly. I'm not seeing like any like particular section where he's lacking, honestly. Let's see. 5 Thunderwave users, 3 Toxic users, and 1 Will-O-Wisp user. Wow. So he's got some pretty good status changers, and he's got a lot of disruption as well. He's got 4 knockoff and let's see, 8 taunt users. He's also got 5 Encore users. Wow. This is gonna be a team that's hard to beat. And then also he's got 1 Pokemon that learns the Wish, being the Umbreon. Wish is always very hard to deal with, especially on evolutions. Oh my goodness. This is gonna be like, I have a really rough season ahead of me. I think one negative thing on my opponents on this team is that so the Graphite and the Whimsicott are 2 of his fastest Pokemon, but that is irrelevant because he's got the Prankster. Like, I don't think those 2 Pokemon are gonna be used in an offensive manner, so that speed just goes out of the window because he'll be relying on the Prankster. But regardless of that, I think this team is going to be like either B or A. Let's see, because he's got 4 rats. I think this is gonna be a B tier. And so yeah, guys, I think the biggest threat to me on this league, it's gonna be the Piranhas, the Detroit Blue Flares, and then the Las Vegas Leaves. The only I think another threat is gonna be the Slowpokes, but only because he's got the item bundle. Like he's gonna be, but you know, I have to be like kind of like objective and you know just think like overall. And I'm not gonna rate him as A just because he's got item bundle and he basically eats my entire team. But yeah, and like I said earlier in the video, guys, you know, I'm a terrible player on the draft leagues, so don't take this personal or anything. But yeah, I think this is the tier list. It looks fair to me. And that concludes the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed it, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I hope you guys have a really good rest of your week. Take care. See ya!